hot air balloon. This is activity 5 in flight on day 2. And with a hot air balloon, you need lots and lots of tissue paper. You need glue, and you need a hot blow dryer, but that comes a little bit later, so you don't need that right away. Building the hot air balloon actually takes a few days. That's not going to happen right away. So also make sure they're in teams. Now, the thing with teams, the only issue with teams is that if you have teams, someone gets to take the hot air balloon home, and usually have to do rock, paper, scissors, or do some other thing where someone gets to take the marshmallow shooter home, and the others get to take the hot air balloon home. However you decide to do this is completely up to you. But it's way too big of a job for everyone to do it on their own, and you'd be able to take one home. This is a study in flight, so we want to be able to see all things that fly. So in this case, watching the hot air balloons fly is the valuable lesson here, not who gets to take it home. So the hot air balloon, when it's completely finished, should look something. The hot air balloon, when it's completely finished, should look something like this. So here we have all our different tissue papers, and you can see that there's a seam here, and there's a seam here, and then we have different colors. So it's about 3 pieces times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so it's a lot of tissue paper. And what they need to do is take glue and glue the seams together. So you're going to give them instructions. We're going to see how well they follow the instructions. And this is one of those instances where you're learning along with them. You're like, here's our challenge to try and make a bunch of hot air balloons that we're going to fly on Friday for our big air show. So this is flight, so on Friday you invite the parents, they come to the air show. So, and once you're completed, now it does take a while, it is kind of difficult, but the way I see it is, it's an awesome project. And you can usually get it to fly. Here's the issue with the hot air balloon. We live in a hot climate, or if you live in a hot climate, then you're going to have situations. Not only that, it's summer. So, in most cases, your hot air blow dryer isn't going to be much hotter than the air around. The density of the air inside is what makes it float. Everyone say, hot air rises, cold air sinks. So if we have cold air around us, that actually builds up all those molecules, and they're all together ready to push up on that hotter air. That hotter air is all spread out, and it's ready to float up on top of that cold air. So the situation here is if you have a lot of hot air outside, and you put hot air inside the balloon, it's only going to create so much lift. So what we're going to try to do is fill it up, and it's actually pretty hot in here right now, so you'll get a pretty good example of what happens. You should still see it float, and that's a pretty good point, but our choices are to get a really hot heat gun, which sometimes isn't the best idea because it's a fire hazard. Alright, so we're going to turn this on full power, make sure it's not on cool on your hot blow dryer, and we're going to fill it up all the way. Also, make sure the air intake doesn't get covered by anything, because sometimes this gets stuck like that, and that makes it so it doesn't fill up. It's already starting to lift. You can see it wants to start to float. Now it's just a matter of getting it filled up enough with air. Make sure you don't have any holes in it, because you have to capture all the hot air in the balloon. There we go. Filling up. You want to make sure it spreads out all the way. You can see it's already starting to lift up. It will all tip over. So they do like to tip over, and then the hot air comes out the other side. So trying to keep them straight up as possible, even kind of help them a little bit as they go up. Not a bad idea. Let's try it one more time. So it is basically floating right now. There we go. You can use other things like popcorn machines and things like that. It's actually hitting the ceiling right now. So gives you an example of how it floats. So, most importantly is, it shows you that the hot air rises and cold air sinks. This is how hot air balloon works. I always tell the campers, never take a ride in a cold air balloon because you're not going to go anywhere. So, this is the hot air balloon. If you follow the directions, do your best.